Hello, everyone. My name is Scott Woods, and I'm a 13th grader here at OEC. As a proud member of the graduating class of 2025, I'm excited to take you on a journey through my high school experience. Over the next 12 minutes, I'll be walking you through the key moments, challenges, and unexpected turns that have shaped my last few years and ultimately led me to where I am today. Ninth grade, freshman year. Well, it was definitely not the high school experience I had imagined. Instead of standing in line in hallways to get to our destinations in crowded classrooms, my introduction to high school happened entirely online because of, as we all know, COVID. It was a really strange time for everyone. I remember feeling so disconnected, but not all was bad. Learning from home had its perks, like being able to roll out of bed right before class, eating whenever you can, playing video games non-stop and waking up and doing it all over again. But it also meant missing out on so much of what I thought high school would be. Socially, it was tough. Making new friends felt almost impossible when all interactions were through a screen. The casual chats in the hallways, the shared laughter in the cafeteria, those things just didn't happen. I definitely felt like I missed out on those initial bonding experiences that help you find your people. Even keeping up with old friends felt different. Everything required more effort and intentionality. I think being online made me a bit more introverted and maybe even a little awkward when we finally did start having some in-person interactions later on. It definitely shaped my early high school experience in a way I never expected, and looking back, I can see how it impacted my social skills and how I navigated relationships in the following years. Even though freshman year was all online, there was one class that really stood out for me: biology. I found it absolutely fascinating. Maybe it was the way the teacher explained things or just the subject matter itself. Learning about how living things work just clicked with me. It was probably the most engaging class I had that year, and honestly, it gave me something to look forward to amidst all the screen time. One of the most memorable moments from biology was when we did a lab experiment at home, making elephant toothpaste. I remember being so excited about it. We had to gather all the ingredients: the yeast, hydrogen peroxide, dish soap, and food coloring. Following the instructions felt like a real science experiment happening in my own kitchen. 10th grade, sophomore year was a complete 180 from freshman year, and honestly, it felt like a breath of fresh air. The biggest change was going back to in-person school. After a year of staring at screens, walking through the school doors again was fantastic. Seeing all my old friends in person after so long was amazing. Those hallway high fives and lunchtime chats felt so much more real. And it wasn't just about reconnecting. Being back in the school environment made it so much easier to meet new people and form new friendships. The energy of being around everyone again was just incredible. Another huge thing that happened that year was getting my first job at Foot Locker. I was so excited to finally have some independence and my own money. Little did I know how much that job would actually help me grow, especially when it came to talking to people. I was pretty shy before, but working in retail forced me to step out of my comfort zone, interact with customers, and explain products. I had to learn how to listen to what people wanted, answer their questions, and handle different personalities. Looking back, I can definitely see how that job at Foot Locker significantly improved my communication skills and made me more confident in talking to people. However, sophomore year also had a moment that I'll never forget, and not in a good way. Getting my driver's license was a huge milestone, the ultimate symbol of freedom. I remember the excitement of driving to school for the first time, but one morning on my way to school, something terrifying happened. I was in a car accident. It all happened so fast, and for a moment I genuinely thought that was it. I was so incredibly lucky to walk away with just some minor injuries and a seriously shaken perspective. That experience was a harsh reminder of how fragile life can be, and it definitely made me appreciate every day a little bit more. Despite the amazing parts of sophomore year, the return to in-person learning, the job, the newfound friendships, that car crash is a moment that will always stick with me. 11th grade, so junior year rolled around, and I made the decision to leave West Bloomfield and transfer to OEC. It wasn't an easy choice, but there were some really compelling reasons behind it. On the academic side, OEC offered something amazing: free college courses while I was still in high school. Getting a head start on college credits without the cost was a massive opportunity that I knew would benefit me down the road. Plus, the structure at OEC gave me a lot more independent time, which was perfect because I needed that flexibility, especially with work. And just being located on a college campus felt different. It gave me a taste of that environment and what was coming next. But honestly, another big factor in leaving was the social scene at West Bloomfield. It felt like some of my so-called friends were really starting to show their true colors. And frankly, they weren't being the greatest friends anymore. It became a bit of a toxic environment and I knew I needed a change. Moving to OEC meant a complete reset socially. At West Bloomfield, I felt like I knew everyone, or at least a good number of people. Suddenly I was at OEC, and I barely knew anyone. It was a really strange feeling going from that sense of familiarity to being the new kid again. I pretty much started back at square one when it came to building a social life. It was definitely challenging navigating a new school and trying to connect with people again, especially after the social disconnect of freshman year. Even though starting over socially at OEC was tough, something interesting started to happen. As I began talking to people in my classes and around campus, I realized that you can actually have more in common with people than you initially think. Even though we came from different high schools and had different backgrounds, I started finding connections through shared interests in our college courses, or even just through the experience of being the new person at OEC. I started making friends slowly but surely. Small conversations in class would lead to hanging out after school, and I began to find my footing. One of the cool things about OEC being on a college campus was that there were so many different kinds of people. Through my initial connections, I started being introduced to even more new people. It was a gradual process, but it was really rewarding to build these new friendships and realize that even in a completely new environment, you can find your tribe. It taught me that sometimes you just need to put yourself out there and be open to connecting with people, even if they seem different at first glance. And you know what was a really unexpected and awesome part of transferring to OEC? I actually ran into an old friend from middle school. His name was Ryan. I hadn't seen him in years and it was kind of surreal to bump into him on this completely different campus. We recognized each other right away, and it was so cool to reconnect and realize we were both taking classes at OEC. Having Ryan there made the whole transition so much easier. Since he had already been at OEC for a bit, he knew some people and the general lay of the land. He was super welcoming and started introducing me to his friends. It was like having a familiar face in a sea of new ones, and he really helped bridge that gap and made me feel more comfortable. Ryan definitely played a big role in helping me build my new social circle at OEC, and I thank him for that. 12th grade senior year was a bit of a question mark for me at the beginning, especially when it came to figuring out my career path. I was taking my core college classes at OEC, which was great for getting those credits out of the way, but I still felt a little unsure about what I actually wanted to do after graduation. Interestingly, even though I was focused on academics, my mind often drifted to things I genuinely enjoyed outside of school. I realized how much I loved working with electronics, tinkering with them, understanding how they work, and I also had this whole side hustle going on, buying and selling clothes and shoes online using platforms like eBay, Poshmark, and Facebook Marketplace. I actually really enjoyed the process of finding deals, taking photos, writing descriptions, and connecting with buyers. It was a creative outlet and a way to make some extra money. Then out of nowhere, something really frustrating and honestly pretty scary happened. I got hit with a fraudulent order on one of the selling platforms. I didn't see it coming at all, and before I knew it, I had lost a couple of $1,000s. It was a major blow and left me feeling really vulnerable and angry. But you know, sometimes the worst experiences can lead to unexpected discoveries. After dealing with that fraud, I started thinking, how can I make sure this never happens again? That question sparked something in me. I started researching online security, trying to understand how these scams work and what measures I could take to protect myself. And that's when it hit me, cybersecurity. I was immediately fascinated, learning about how to protect digital information, how systems work, and how to defend against threats just completely grabbed my attention. It was like a light bulb went off. Suddenly I had found something that genuinely excited me, a field that combined my interest in technology with a real-world problem I had personally experienced. That fraudulent order, as awful as it was, ironically led me to discover a passion for cybersecurity, and from that point on, I was hooked. 13th grade. So after what most people consider senior year, OEC has this unique opportunity called 13th grade. It's essentially an extra year of high school, but instead of a full load of traditional classes, it's focused on college coursework in one really impactful high school class called 13th Seminar. This year was all about preparing us for what comes next. One of the major requirements for 13th Seminar was completing 40 internship hours. I decided to do my internship at a place called Jetka, and it was a fantastic experience that gave me a real taste of the professional world. My responsibilities there were pretty varied. I handled things like roll call and staffing, which taught me a lot about organization and communication. But what was really interesting was that I also got to be involved in dealing with online threats. Because of my newfound interest in cybersecurity, I was able to contribute to resolving some of those issues, which was incredibly validating and solidified my passion even further. Another key component of 13th seminar was the budget project. This was such a practical and eye-opening exercise. We had to create a realistic budget, figuring out how to manage our money, save effectively, and spend wisely. It wasn't just a theoretical assignment, it really made me think about the financial realities of living on my own after college. It gave me a valuable outlook on how to handle my finances responsibly and set myself up for future success. And of course, the culmination of my entire high school journey, including this unique 13th grade, is this capstone presentation right now. Looking back at everything, from the unexpected online freshman year to finding my passion for cybersecurity, the friendships I've made and lost, the challenges I've overcome, it's all played a role in shaping me into the person I am today. This whole experience, the good and the bad, has taught me so much about myself, about resilience, and about following my interests, even when they emerge in unexpected ways. Conclusion. So as I look back on my high school experience, it's clear that it's been a journey filled with unexpected twists and turns, from the isolation of online learning in my freshman year to the vibrant return to in-person classes and the challenges and growth of my sophomore year. Each phase has left its mark. The transfer to OEC in my junior year, while initially a social reset, opened doors to incredible academic opportunities and the rekindling of old friendships. And then senior year brought that unexpected spark, the frustrating experience with online fraud that ultimately ignited my passion for cybersecurity. Finally, this unique 13th grade at OEC has provided invaluable real-world experience through my internship and the practical lessons of the budget project, all leading to this moment of reflection. More than just a collection of classes and events, these years have been about growth, resilience, and self-discovery. I've learned the importance of connection, the impact of unexpected challenges, and the power of following my evolving interests. High school wasn't always easy, but it has undeniably shaped my perspective, my skills, and my aspirations for the future. As I move forward, I carry with me the lessons learned, the friendships forged, and the passion I've found, ready to embrace whatever comes next. This has been my high school experience, and it's made me who I am today. Metaphor. Looking back at my high school experience feels a lot like watching an episode of regular show. You start off thinking it's gonna be one thing, maybe just another day of classes and hanging out, like Mordecai and Rigby trying to avoid work. But then out of nowhere, things get totally bizarre and unexpected. You've got the online freshman year that felt like some kind of surreal isolated adventure, kind of like when Mordecai and Rigby end up in another dimension. Then came the chaotic energy of returning to in-person school and the unexpected challenges like that near car crash. Definitely a whoa dude moment worthy of Benson's yelling. Even transferring to OEC felt like Mordecai and Rigby suddenly finding themselves in a completely new park with different roles and characters. And just like their crazy schemes often lead to surprising outcomes, my frustrating experience with online fraud unexpectedly launched me into the world of cybersecurity, a plot twist I definitely didn't see coming. Ultimately, just like Mordecai and Rigby, despite all the weirdness and challenges, I learned a lot about myself and the people around me. Each crazy event, each friendship, each unexpected turn, it all contributed to the episode that is my high school experience. And while it might not have always been regular, it was definitely memorable and has shaped who I am today, ready for whatever unbelievable adventure comes next.